Often when we're using AutoCAD, we don't even want to draw anything, or we don't want to edit anything. We just want to gather some information about the drawing. Um, Sometimes that information's like built into quick properties. Like if I want to know the length of this line right here, all I got to do is pick on it, and the length of the line will be shown to me. Also note that it's kind of grayed out. That just means that it's read-only information. I can't edit that. Information that I can edit are right here. We kind of talked about that in the previous video. We'll leave that alone. But I can gather information such as length of a line simply by highlighting it. If I pick a circle, I can see that the diameter, the radius, the circumference, and the area are all given to me, and notice that they are not read-only. I can edit them. If I wanted this diameter to say, oh geez, somebody eyeballed this and just kind of dragged it out there. They wanted 1 1/4, but didn't give that to me exactly. If I just pick it and type in 1.25 and hit enter, that becomes exactly 1.25, and then all the other information updates automatically. If for some reason or other I wanted the area of the circle to be exactly 2, the information updates based on that. So we can edit using the quick properties in addition to simply gathering that information. If I wanted to, no, now this thing right here, see if I highlight it, I drew that with the polyline command. If I pick that, I do not get all the information that I might want, like what's the area of that polygon. I don't get that information in here. It's not a common want amongst AutoCAD users to gather the area of a closed polyline. Now what I can do is, instead of using a quick properties palette that pops up whenever I pick something, if I do a Control-1, the properties palette, the full-blown properties palette comes up. And now when I pick something, I don't get just the quick properties. I get everything I could ever want to know about that. And one of those pieces of information is the area. So I can gather the area type information. Even the length or the perimeter around that polyline is given to me. So properties can be a nice tool to have on all the time. And just like I'm going to hit escape for right now to let that go. Just like our layer properties manager stays on the screen whenever we're using it, and then I anchored it to the left, I can also right click on the title bar or the edge of this palette and say I want to anchor it to the left also. And then it just kind of shares space vertically with that. If I hover over here, I can get that information. So if I pick anything like a circle, not just polylines, but if I pick a circle, I get all the information I want about that object, not just what Quick Properties thinks it needs to show me. So properties, the properties palette itself, Control-1, opens that up, and then I usually anchor it to the left or anchor it to the right if you're left-handed, I guess. I don't know. But you can anchor that on either side however you want to do it. Again, when you've got something selected, you hit the escape key and that lets it go, and then Quick Properties goes away. But what I really want to talk about with this video is actual commands, such as maybe for who knows what reason, I want to know the distance from the end point of this line to the end point of that line. I can't just hover in that area and have it shown to me. I have to use this tool right up here called, this is actually MeasureGeom. I don't know why they give it such a goofy name, but that's what it is. And there's a lot of different options in there. If I pull this down, you can see all the different options to it. We're going to focus on distance and radius and angle and area. We're not working in 3D, so we really don't care about volume. And quick is just plain silly. Let's deal with quick. Notice the icon for quick is just a straight ruler, nothing else on it, and that's what's at the top right now. If I pick quick, whatever I get close to just kind of shows me some information. Sometimes that can be useful, I guess, but you know, what's going on here? What is that 1.41? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that 7979 is. As I get closer to objects, you know, why is my crosshair so goofy? I don't know what's happening with this command. So I never use quick. I want to tell it exactly what I'm looking for and use that. And I often use length. I want to know, or distance, I guess is a better term. So I'm going to pull this down and pick distance. And then that floats to the top and becomes the active option of MeasureGeom. And it just prompts me to pick a first point, and I'll pick this endpoint using my running object snaps, and I'll pick that point, and it shows me that, and it gives me a couple of extra pieces of information like vertical distance between those 2 points and horizontal distance between those 2 points. What is that giving me? Oh yeah, horizontal distance between those 2 points right here. Okay, and then the length or the true distance between those 2 points is that 3.4353. So that's accurate to 4 decimal places. You would use your units command to increase the precision if you want a more precise measurement than 4 decimal places. I'll hit escape to be done with that command, or pick exit, or type in an X, or right click and pick, and you get the drift. There's all sorts of ways to get out of here. Pick exit. And that's the distance command. If I wanted to know the distance from the center of this circle to the center of that circle, pick distance again. Notice the distance stays at the top. I use that most often, so that's probably what is going to be there if you ever looked over my screen. Shows me the distance between those 2 points, the vertical distance between those 2 points, and the horizontal distance between those 2 points. And the angle off of horizontal is also shown to us between those 2 points when they're not vertical or horizontal. I'll hit exit or escape. Either one gets me out of there. If I wanted to know the angle between 2 lines, I can pull this down and say, give me the angle. And now I pick a line and another line, and it shows me the angle between those 2 points. Again, it's showing it to me to the whole degree because my units command is set to degrees, and it's set to a precision of just the whole degree, not even a single decimal place. You would need to go into the units command and change that to get a more accurate reading. I'll hit escape to let that go. If I wanted to know the radius of this arc or the radius of this circle, I can pull this down and say radius and pick this, and it tells me what the radius is. And it knows it's a circle. It shows me the diameter too, so they kind of lied to us when it said radius. It gives us 2 pieces of information. If I said, geez, you know what? I also want to know the distance from this circle center point to that circle center point, or this circle center point to that end point. I can just change its mind and go into the distance option and pick center and go to endpoint. And then I said, geez, you know what? I want to know the radius of that arc. I can use this drop-down list to just change the option that I'm using for that command until I'm truly done getting any information that I really need. And then I can hit escape or exit. I don't have to go up to the top and switch tools. Lastly would be the area command. If I wanted to know the area, now we know this. If I pick that, oh geez, it doesn't give me that. But if it doesn't give me the area in quick properties. If I pull this down and said I want to know the area, okay, it's going to want me to pick points. And I could go and pick endpoint to endpoint to endpoint to endpoint and then hit enter, and it would tell me that area. but rather I know that this is bounded by a single object, by a single polyline. So I can go down here and use object, and then I can pick a polyline, or I can pick a circle, and it will tell me the area and the perimeter of that polyline. It even fills it in to show me that that's what we're talking about right there. If I'll exit out of here. If I go to area, notice that it floated to the top. If I want to know the area of this triangular shape, not really bounded by polyline edges, then I would pick points. Pick, and you can kind of see that it shades that in and tells me what I'm looking for. I hit enter to say I'm all done selecting points, and it tells me the area and the perimeter of all of those points. Okay, I'm going to exit out of here, and let's do something a little bit different. I'm going to grab this and pick this. And let's say for who knows what reason, I wanted to know the area of this circle minus the area of that circle. I'll go to area, and I kind of have to use my subtract option. But before I want to go into the subtract option, I actually want to add it. Think of right now, my status is kind of 0, so I'm going to add the area of this object. And now that I've got that, I'm going to right click and go into the subtract area and go into the object option, and I'm going to subtract that from it and hit enter, and it tells me what that area is, the total area, based on that adding and subtracting. I'll hit exit to be done with this, and whoops, that gets me out of the subtract option, and then I'm kind of out of screen area here, so I have to hit escape to get out of this command in that instance. But that's a little bit of information on using the add and subtract options of area. That should pretty much do it. Oh, one last thing. I don't like dragging this down and having to make my mind up about that. Little known fact, there's actually a toolbar for that. About 10 years ago, Autodesk abandoned toolbars and went with a ribbon of commands instead. But if I type in, they're still there. If I type in hyphen toolbar, nobody knows that this command is around anymore. If I type in hyphen toolbar and it asks me for the name of the toolbar, I happen to know that the name of the toolbar that has all those options is called measurement underscore tools, and I hit enter. And it says, okay, what do you want to do with that? Well, I want to show that toolbar. I'll pick it. And then that toolbar is on the screen. And then I don't have to pull this down. I can say, hey, there's my distance option. There's my radius option, angle, and area. So then those options are there all the time. One last thing, I will type in options. And I'm all about making things easy. See how small that is? That's not easy to deal with. I'm going to go into options. And on display, I'm going to say use large buttons for toolbars and say OK and say OK. And now those buttons get a little bit bigger. They're a little bit easier to use. So there's some information on data gathering inside of AutoCAD.